Hey, it's Sonia, and welcome to the SMARTA Podcast. If you want to find out how to scale your personal brand and really get into the mix of finding out what you want to offer people and how to make them understand who you are and offer them the value through a medium, then today's episode is for you. Today's guest is Katrena Friel, and she is a pioneer of a personal brand development and business mentoring with more than 25 years of experience transforming professionals into recognized industry leaders. She's also the creator of the Becoming the Expert methodology, which has helped thousands of consultants, coaches, and executives build thriving and purpose-driven businesses. Through her work at the Business Mentor Institute, Katrena guides the next generation of mentors with her structured 90-day certification program, which you'll uncover in today's episode for you, covering everything from sales and marketing mastery to complete business automation strategies. She has this 1, 2, 3 numbered strategy for you prepared for today's podcast that if you listen to it, you will truly become inspired and forced to take the next steps to level up your game. Now, what is amazing about her work is that her approach is no nonsense, it's practical, and it's rooted in real world results, shaped by her own journey throughout burnout, bold career decisions, and ultimately building a life of freedom and impact. She's here today to share how you can step confidently into your expertise, avoid the pitfalls of entrepreneurship, and fast track your success. Here's today's episode. Katrena Friel, welcome on the SMARTA Podcast.
Hi, Sonia. It's great to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. In the green room before we started recording, we had a little fun meetup. So I'm definitely excited to see where you're going to take me now in regards to Business Mentor Institute and how I'm going to sit down and what I'm going to learn. Here's where I want to take you first, Katrena. Because your journey has completely transformed thousands of professionals, and you've went from creating the Becoming the Expert methodology to building the Business Mentor Institute. For the people listening right now, if you could talk directly with them, what would be the top 3 key takeaways that they should listen to if they hang around until the end of the episode?
Well, they should trust themselves a little bit more. I think if we could all go back and talk to our younger selves, it would always be just to have a bit more faith that you're on the right path, even though it doesn't always feel like you are. And also the whole confidence, self-belief bit. I just find we waste a lot of time thinking we're not confident enough. And the question should be, do you really want to put the effort in to become confident on that thing? It doesn't define you as a confident or a not confident person. So I think we waste a lot of time on whether we're confident or not. We all start somewhere, and you got to start somewhere, and you just keep doing it until it feels normal. And that can be 3 times. That could be when playing a piano. It could be thousands of times. You have to do it before you feel comfortable just with that one piece of music. So it's the same with us authors and speakers. We all start somewhere, and you just got to begin. That's the main thing. So that would be my third piece of advice, is just begin. Oh my God. Start.
And I could not stand upon you with this one more, because the biggest emphasis I always like to put on is the execution, taking the actual steps and taking action towards building your goals. Because so many just begin asking, how do we start and how do we, have the best path to ensure success? But actually, if you just stick consistently to something for a period of time and you're disciplined and determined and you truly believe in whatever it is that you're creating, it cannot fail.
Yeah.
It's just proven.
It's inevitable. Success is inevitable. You may pivot along the way, and that's actually part of it. Pivoting is essential. And I think the key there is often we don't pivot quick enough. We often labor because there's so much time and effort and money that we've put into something. We're really reluctant to change. But really, business is all about pivoting. And I think that's really prevalent in my business career, and how I've done it is I've continuously pivoted, and now I have a lot of things underpinning where I can go and what I can do. And it just gives the universe a lot more options to send me a lot more opportunity. Whereas when you're sort of stuck and rigid and have to go one way, well, the universe can only provide X, Y rather than X, Y, Z.
I want to take you into the world of startups now. because you've mentored thousands of entrepreneurs through different growth phases. From your experience, what would be your top stages in creating a startup as a young person with limited resources?
So what I've created with Becoming the Expert program is done on a shoestring, because at that phase, at that point where you've got nothing, you're starting from ground zero and you're
Mhm.
becoming the expert. To me, being on a shoestring is key because it makes us really nimble, really smart, and really creative. Whereas when you've got all the money in the world, all the time in the world, all the
Yeah.
people to help you in the world, well, when that happens, you do nothing because there's just nothing to push you along. So you're better off having no resources or very little resources, because that'll make you move and that'll make you get creative real fast. So I love that startup phase. That's the phase that I stay in that very beginning first step, often
Mhm.
out of corporate into your own personal brand business. That's
Mhm.
my space, that very first step out. And what we do there is we don't even say leave your job. We think that's stupid. I say keep a dual strategy running. So keep your JOB running in the background, because that's going to fund your next goal, which is your personal brand business. And everyone should create a personal brand business. And what we do is we create that for you in the background, and you can actually run these two things at the same time. And then one thing sort of takes off and it starts to prove itself to you. And then you can start making decisions about how do you want to exit the corporate world that's been paying you, money. And so to me, there's a very different mindset required from an institutionalized mindset where you get paid a fish at the end of every week. Doesn't matter
Mhm.
what you do, doesn't really matter if you add value or not, you're getting paid regardless. Whereas when you've got to have an entrepreneurial mindset, it's a
Yeah.
completely different world. And that's why you've got to run the two worlds, because 90% of the world's population is incapable of ever feeding themselves. So only 10% of the world's population really has the ability to develop the entrepreneurial mindset and really stand alone and is willing to feed themselves. And for me, that's a very adult mindset to have, because being able to feed yourself gives you a lot of power. Whereas when you need someone to feed you, I think
Yeah.
that's, to me, like a toddler living a toddler lifestyle. And we all start somewhere. I've been in JOBs all my life. I did 30 years of that. But there was something always inside of me that was gnawing at me from the inside. And if you have that, then you've got what we've got. Sonia's got it. I've got it. That is the entrepreneur. The entrepreneur inside will tell
Mhm.
you that it's there. And it just is a feeling. Not only is it gnawing to get out, there is this sense that there's more in you. There's this
Yeah.
real, you just feel like you're built for more. And other people, if you ever said it out loud, people might think you're up yourself or you love yourself or you
Yeah.
think you're better than you are or something like
Yeah.
that. But that's not what it is. It's that you can sense your own potential, that more importantly, you can sense your unlimited potential. And in fact,
Mhm.
all human beings have that. It's just most of us, it's programmed out of you. Whereas for some of us who were never broken like a horse, we were never broken in, they're the ones that have this sense of unlimited potential still inside of us. And again, that's only 10% of the world's population, I would say. Yeah.
I'm completely blown away of how you split the facts that 10% have the sort of adult mindset and the rest are toddlers. I'm very reassured with what you say, because that mindset, that feeling that's gnawing at you, that's like your burning passion that you've got to do something more, but you're happy with where you are, is something that people in the room that don't have that entrepreneurial mindset wouldn't understand. And so here I want to dive you into something that you've already touched upon, personal branding.
Mm.
Why is it such a crucial piece for business mentors today, do you think?
Always hated retail. And I just thought, oh my God, I would never have a retail store. That seems so stupid to me. And then I look at other business models and I just think, oh, yuck, that's just disgusting. I don't like other business models. And I suppose, of
Mm.
course, I'm biased, but I believe everyone has a personal brand inside of them. Even if you are in a job or in your own business, you have a personal brand business with 7 streams of income, something that you can teach. And so when we look at the 7 streams of income, everyone's got a book inside of them. So your philosophy becomes your first book. And then from your first book, you can then speak. So that's your second stream of income. And then when you look at what you've created there and you take your baby out into the world, your book and your speaking, that's your sales and marketing strategy, which then brings the clients back to you so you can sell in training, coaching, mentoring, facilitating, and consulting within your own personal brand business. And so it's mad to me that people don't know about this still, except I do believe they do now. I've been doing this for over 25 years. And now I think people understand that we all have a story. We all have something we can give back. And some of us make a real go of it. Like some can create a legacy business out of it. But most of us will only create what we call is a practice. It's not really a business, meaning when I die, my business dies with me. And so becoming the expert was always going to be a practice, something that I helped people with. And when I die, that's the end of that. So that's why I created the Business Mentoring Institute, was because I want to create other people that do what I do. And I want to give them the Becoming the Expert model. And I want to train them in my model and my methodology and how I do what I do. And I want to leave a whole bunch of Becoming the Expert people out there. And so I'm now at 56 opening my doors to that now, so that when I die, my work stays here and is making a lot of money for others on a number of levels, not just the business mentor level, but their clients. Everybody's making money off their own story and off their own medicine and their own magic, which is just magical.
It is. It truly is. I want to ask you more about these people that you always help set themselves up for success. How do you practically help them create the roles of authenticity and credibility in their field?
So within the process of doing it, the reason I'm doing the book first is the book has to come first, in my view, because that's where you do your due diligence. It's where you earn your stripe. It layers in a level of confidence that's quite thick, because now you know your philosophy, you know who you are and what you stand for. And so once that's down, creating the speaking TED Talk out of that is really easy. It's just take all your chapters and there's all your top tips. Each chapter is a top tip. That's it. And so again, doing the speaking adds another layer of confidence. So by the time we've left what I call phase 1 of the program, I've layered in 2 very thick layers of confidence, and I've shown them what they look like when they are completely in their authenticity. And I can also show them when they're not. And so when I'm talking, if you look at me now, like I'm just talking away, I'm just relaxed, I'm in my body and I'm not overthinking. I'm not actually in my head. I'm out. I'm connected to the universe, and the universe is channeling the wisdom through me. And when you free fall like that and you can just channel and just, you know your stuff, you know your direction, you know your messages, you know your marks, but you just let go and you're just in it. That's pure authenticity. And the more you're in that, the more successful you be. And so the trick is just practicing that enough so it just becomes normal. And when they say, I'm nervous to go on stage, I go, yeah, but wait till you're up there. You'll drop out of that. You free fall into it and you come off stage and you should say, I have no idea what I just said. And you go, great. You were there. You were in it. That's free falling with the universe, co-creating with the universe. That's where the best magic happens. And it's just incredible. So you see glimpses in the early stages of their authenticity, but it's not until they've practiced it a few times where they start to realize they have to let go. Having notes is a ridiculous thing. It keeps you conscious, You don't want to be conscious. You want to be unconsciously just being the best version of who you are. And you've got to allow that to come down through. And I call that channeling, but, really it's the universe and you and your soul co-creating together, because they have a bigger picture of who's listening and who you're impacting. And that ripple effect, you'll never, ever know as a human, never. But the universe knows the ripple effect that's occurring. So you just
Wow.
got to trust that that's all going on. And so when you come off the stage and go, I have no idea what I said, that's why I record it, because often in the recording, I can use all those isms
Yeah.
in the social media, take all the clips, because you just don't know what you're going to say. And it's often fabulous. You go, oh my God, that was brilliant. Yay.
Yeah. How come I thought of that? It just came to me. I love the way you just break it down as pure authenticity and your definition of it, because I think it's in a world full of hyperconnectivity, especially when content is multiplied and it's now more available to you than ever. Being able to speak from the soul, like you say, is crucial. And if you match it with your philosophy and you know exactly who you are and your values and what you want to offer as value to the world, it just comes natural.
Yes.
And I want to dive deeper into this, particularly for mentorship now. And what unique value do you see that mentorship can provide for women entrepreneurs in particular when it comes down to your business and your work?
So imagine, and this is what most people do, is they do it without a mentor. So
Yeah.
what if they were to try and do what I do in 90 days, it would take them 5 years and $75,000. So the
Wow.
whole point of a mentor in its purest essence is to fast track your thinking, fast track your learning. And it's meant to save you a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of angst. And if it's not doing that, then it's not mentoring. Coaching is completely different. Coaching is where I'll ask you questions and you have to go into yourself and pull out the answer for you. Now, the problem with that in business is you don't know what you don't know. So to me, coaching when you're starting a business is 100% completely useless, because you don't even know what questions to ask. You don't know to ask what's the right order for this. Whereas I know as a mentor, this is the order. This is what we're going to produce in the right order at the right time. And we're going to layer this in, then that in, then this in. And the advice my clients have for other clients is trust the process. And I say to them, lean into me, just drop into me and just let me pull you through this. You do not need to try at all. In fact, you don't even really need to think much. Just trust the process. I'll get you there. And that's what a business mentor does. A business mentor has been there, done that. In my case, I've been there, done that thousands of times. And so I've got it tuned up to what I call it's like a fine-tuned, sauce as opposed to a business soup. And most people are happy to swim in the soup and they don't even know they're swimming in the business soup, meaning all the things, 1,000 things, 50 billion drops of things. Everyone's got the right answer. Here's all the silver bullets. Here's all the free things. I'll just keep seeking more free things and more free things. And I'll buy this $2.50 online program and I'll do this $59 program. And then I'm going to do this $95 online program. And then, oh my God, 5 years have gone by. I've spent all this money and I've got nowhere. Where's my business? I don't know. I'm not positioned correctly. I'm not packaged correctly. I'm not priced correctly. And I know nothing about business. And so really, mentoring is meant to save you a lot of time and a lot of money. And that's what it is. So seek out business mentoring. And you know what? The tide has turned. You're starting to hear the screams of discontent with how people have wasted so much time and money. And it's starting to realize, the market's realizing around the world, geez, what have we done? And now people are really worried about coaches because a lot of coaches don't know what they're doing. They haven't got a successful business themselves. I think, most coaches are starving. Most authors are starving. And I've got a whole, speech on why authors and coaches starve. It's on my homepage, in fact, because I just think it's so important to tell people why. So anyway, I just think mentoring is the go. Go and find somebody that's been there, done that can fast track it. Mentoring is telling people what to do.
Uh-huh.
And that might sound bad to tell people what to do, but really, why would you want to guess? Business is very simple. It's just, once you've done it once, you can rinse and repeat.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
yeah. So in 90 days, I put it all together, get them out there. They've got all their assets built in 90 days. And the rest of the 12-month program, I'm hand-holding them through the process and just layering in those extra confidence ribbons so that they can grow. And then when they're finished with the program, they're swimming by themselves. They're able to feed themselves and fish. Yeah. That's the key. Business is not hard, but there is some complexity to it. And a business mentor would make all that look simple.
I think what your biggest value for people that want to create that business and know they've got that potential inside of them is you help them bridge the gap in between what they want to do to offer the world and in what medium to provide them through. And I think it all comes down to intentionality and reality. In reality, just putting all of the thoughts that is going through one's head onto paper and then jotting that down into a to-do list and seeing how you can do those goals, how you can break them down into weekly tasks so you can achieve that in 90 days. I think that's truly, people underestimate the quickness or the how fast you can get to where you want to get if you have a sort of person that has been through it, as you said, and can take you from start to finish in twice the time or even quicker.
Yeah, well, it's a done for you model, very different from setting your goals and you having to do it. I do it all for them. So the first day is all about the business planning, what we're doing, what we're building, why we're building it, where the money is, where the money isn't. And so the business planning is day one, just day one. Day two is the philosophy. We pull the philosophy out of you, make sure that you understand what you're going to stand for and what your chapters are, and your book outline comes out of that second day. And then after you've got the first draft of the book back to me, that's when I start to do all the editing and the design and put all that together so that you've got a book. And then from the book cover, that dictates the brand. So we create the brand from that book cover, and then we create the website, and then we create the TED Talk slides and all the training around that. Then we create your $10,000 signature program out of that. And then there's a whole bunch of other stuff. But all of that gets built for you, not by you. Kind of some of it's with you, of course, but it all is done for you. And again, nobody's got time for. When I first started, I did it in groups and I got them to do it. And I'd turn around in 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, and they've done nothing. So I started to realize very early on, this needs to be, if it's going to get done, it needs to be a done for you model. So I was there, 25 years ago doing a done for you model. And you'll notice in the market, done for you is now in fashion. And it's like, it's brand new. It's like, no, I've been doing it for 25 years because I knew the individuals would never get it done. Not as quick and as efficiently as I would get it done because I'm doing it all the time. So yeah, they've got to be positioned correctly, packaged correctly, and priced correctly. And all that gets done within those 90 days. And it's just meant to be like magic.
Absolutely. I want to bring you now to some pieces of advice you'd offer to the person listening right now if they find themselves in a situation where they're ready to break through to the next level, but might feel stuck. What would be a great starting point from your experience?
Well, I like to have a free discovery session with them because if I just give you advice, then you're going to stay stuck, because if you knew what you didn't know, you would know what you didn't know. And so being stuck is a way where you need more information, you need more input. Yeah. And so if you have a free discovery session with me, within the first 15 minutes of that 1 hour conversation, I will show you what your life purpose is. I will show you what your soul purpose is. I will show you what your medicine is. I will draw out of you the stuff that you cannot see yourself. That happens to be my genius zone. That's what I do, the skill that I've honed over the years. Whereas who else has honed that skill? Nobody. So they're sitting there confused, no clarity, stuck, so they say. And that's just because they don't know what they don't know. And why would they? Have they been seeking? Have they been searching? Have they been searching in the right places? Or just doom scrolling every night, feeling useless, wasting time? I mean, that's just not going to get you there. So that's what I would recommend. I know that sounds a bit biased, but, you know, what have they got to lose? Absolutely nothing. Just have a session, have some fun. Let's have a cuppa together and just let me do my thing. Let me do my magic and see what stone I can overturn for you so that they can then get unstuck. They don't have to work with me after that. That's no problem. They can go off and try and build it themselves, but at least they'll have the direction, the path, the railway tracks that they can jump on. At least that would be my advice. Have a free discovery session. Nothing to lose.
Mm-hmm. You've made it sound, you've persuaded me so much. I want to go after this call and just book one with you. Katrena Friel, I want to take you now into the SMARTA Podcast traditions. I've got 2 questions for you here. Question number 1 is related to the world of literature. As you can see behind me, I'm a book addict and I love reading, and especially in the world of nonfiction. I want to ask you, what would be your top 2 books that completely changed your perspective through which you view life?
I think there really is, as much as I'm like you, I've been a bookworm since I was a child, since I could read. They used to take the books out of my hands in the middle of class and say, stop reading, for heaven's sakes, which I think is terrible. But anyway, and when I got upset, I'd go to the library in primary school, and that's my little sanctuary. And I've got piles and piles of books in my home, and I just love books. But to me, there's one book that changes everything for everyone. And it's where the personal development industry began. And everyone is a derivative from this source book. And the book is Think and Grow Rich by, I think it was Dale Carnegie was interviewed. It was Dale Carnegie's philosophy. And this kid who wrote it sort of followed him around and asked him questions. And while it's old-fashioned and it talks about the woman behind the man, you know, make sure you marry well because, you know, a shitty marriage to a shitty woman will make your life a nightmare. While that's true for men, it's also very true for women, you know. So even though they're saying old-fashioned sexist things like that, we know as mature women that we can just understand the concept and understand what they're saying. So just get beyond that, guys, you feminists. Don't get these, you know, your knickers in a knot over that sort of thing, because it was, you know, it's a 1920s book. But the whole industry has come from that. So all the way through to Tony Robbins, that book is pretty much Tony Robbins in a nutshell. Everything that comes from that. And it's talking about how your mind creates everything. And it just talks about your attitude and your mind and how powerful your mind is. And if you think you can't, congratulations, you can't. If you think you can, congratulations, you're right also. So some of the fundamental things in that book has changed everyone. And if you talk to everybody, they will all most often mention that book because it's just been around forever and it's changed all our lives when we've read it. And I'm glad I was one of those people because it changed my life forever after it as well. And yeah, that's pretty much the main book I think everyone needs to read. I've read lots of good business books and lots of good, you know, magical books and lots of, you know, personal development, professional development books. Everything you read is another notch in your belt. Everything goes in to what I call the bowl, your mixing bowl. So every book you've read, your upbringing, you know, your mother, your father, your schooling, all of that goes in there and it mixes up and creates your cake. And that cake is completely unique to you because you're a sum of the whole thing. And so that goes in the oven and comes out, and that's your personal brand business. And then you decorate it with your branding. That's the icing on top and your cherry and whatnot. That's your branding. That's what you sort of show to the world publicly. That's your public face.
Well, hold on a second. I love that analogy. I truly think that's unique and it's so completely true and easy to understand as especially, all of the adolescents now or teenagers that finish high school and are moving on to their next milestone in their life and heading off to college and are questioning about them. That's the perfect breakdown to make them understand personal brand
Yeah.
and their philosophy.
Yeah. And their personal brand will walk in the room before they do. And so
Yeah.
what a personal brand really is what walks in the room ahead of you. And for me, I'm 56. So I've got a lot of stories and a lot of how did I get here? Why did I get here? How come I went that way and not this way? And this happened to me and that happened to me. All those stories, all those things, all the magical synchronicities and coincidences and things that have happened along the way, that happens to absolutely everybody.
Uh-huh.
Nothing is for no reason. And it only is later on do you realize the lesson in it. And then that lesson, once you have the aha moment, then you can teach. You can't teach until you've got the aha. If you haven't found the meaning, then you're not through the learning yet of that thing, of that bit. Yeah. So the hardest lessons are always the biggest lessons and usually
Yeah.
biggest medicine, not the good stuff. The good stuff you just skip over and go, yay, that was easy. That was cool. But it's the hard stuff where you can end up making $1 million out of
Who knows?
it. Who knows?
Question number 2, Katrina, for you is I want to take you back in time to when you were my age, 17, and ask you about a piece of advice in regards to entrepreneurship or branding that would carry you on through to where you are today if you can go back in time and start over again.
Yeah. Well, luckily, I was a spirited child, and that means I was really naughty and always did whatever I wanted to do. Whereas I understand that not everybody is built like that. And I
Yeah.
feel sorry for the good girls. I feel sorry for the people pleasers. I feel sorry for the people that live their lives trying desperately to please everybody, from their mothers to their fathers, to their grandparents, to their sisters and brothers, and to their friends. None of that matters. None of it. The only thing that matters is your experience. And the only thing that you should do is what you want to do. And I've lived my life like that since the beginning. And I strongly recommend people come on board. I call it the naughty girl, but it's not really the naughty girl. It's the spirited girl, the one that doesn't care what people think, the one that does what pleases her. And that's the path to a happy life. The other option is very miserable and you'll burn out and you will, look back and go, look at all my regrets. Whereas when you do what it is that you should do, because it's your journey, it's your destiny, it is your experience on this earth at human school. Have the experience. Just
Yeah.
have the experience. It's not about anybody else except through your eyes. It's your experience through your eyes. And that's what your soul is here to experience. Sonia in this form. Sonia in this form and Katrena in this form will never, ever exist again. This is it. One moment in time, one brief, tiny little blink of history, and then it's gone. So you're better off enjoying it. And what I love about what you're doing, Sonia, is you're already knee deep in it. You're already sucking the juice out of life and experiencing everything, and you're living in full color. And that's what I wish for everybody. From the time you leave high school and you get that first taste of freedom, usually with your first car, just put the pedal down and absolutely go for it. You've got nothing to lose at that age. Nothing.
Thank you so much. That's at least I'm doing something right.
You are.
And I wanna just like add on to something that you said because the way of calling it naughty girl, I think is really just when it comes down to your career and your passion, being selfish or be doing what you want to do
Mm.
is at the end of the day the path you should take. I want to end the episode the way I started it, So, Katrina Friel, if you can talk directly with the person listening right now, what would your end message be to them?
Oh, to live life like it's your last experience here on Earth, because this very well may be the last time we do visit Earth and
Yeah.
Earth School, because your generation is so evolved and, it could be the end of times. Who knows? And so Earth is a very, very special place. She is a gorgeous, beautiful energy to be experiencing. And you can easily get distracted, which is exactly what they want you to do, is to get
Yeah.
distracted by the fear mongering and the pain and the anguish of the world out there. But if you are a pure soul that has a destiny here, just go do that. Do not be distracted by the unkindness of the world and the harshness of the world, because that is not your destiny to fix. It's obviously somebody else's destiny to fix. Otherwise, they're there on the ground doing it. We're
Yeah.
not. So there's no point in focusing on stuff that you can't control. My
Yeah.
philosophy is I only focus on what I can control, which is self. And I can also focus on what I can influence, which is others.
Yeah.
And so building your skills in influencing others, you can then have a bigger impact. But the main thing to concentrate on is getting as much self-control over yourself as you possibly can. That's your job. That's your focus. That's our destiny. Not worrying about all the things we have no control over on and no influence over. That is a complete and utter waste of time. And that's what they'll get you to focus on, so that your whole life ends up being a complete and utter waste of time.
Yeah.
So that's not what I want for people. So sorry, that was a bit long-winded, but you see what I mean. Just stay focused on what you can control, which is self, your attitudes, your beliefs, your limiting beliefs. Work on that stuff, and that will set you free.
Katrina Friel, thank you so much for being on the SMARTA podcast and opening my mind and letting me know that I'm where I should be and just live life intentionally and see where it takes me.
Yeah, you bet. You're filled with magic, Sonia, and I can't wait to watch your journey.
Thank you so much. Best of luck with everything that you've got coming up.
Thank you. And you too. You too. Absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much for listening to that and wanting to become better at your passion and figuring a way to monetize it, what it is that you want to bring into the world. Why don't you go and double check that you're subscribed to this YouTube podcast and follow the episode on whatever platform you're listening to it right now, and rate this podcast episode 5 stars so we can keep bringing amazing guests on the podcast. That being said, I'm Sonia Marta. This is the SMARTA Podcast, and if no one told you this today, I want to be the first to tell you that I believe in you and your ability to create the life of your dreams. See you next Monday.